Hey there, this is Jordan. Can you hear me? Hi, no, seriously, I'm piped into you right now. Do you want to talk to me live right now on the air? Go ahead, speak up. No, I'm just kidding. You can't talk with me right now. Hello again. There's no fancy production in this episode. This is episode number 109, Ask Jordan Podcast. You haven't heard from me in a long time. So I want to explain what's going on. I'm going to give you an update and what things are going to change. And if you are not interested in hearing any of this, I understand. If you're like, Jordan, I just need Amazon seller tips, and just wait for episode 110 to come out. That'll be coming out, I don't know, mid-May. We are going to stay with the Ask Jordan podcast. One of the main reasons why I'm recording this to you now, today's April 27th, 2016, is that many of you have inquired, Jordan, what happened to your podcast? So I'm going to explain that in this episode. I haven't recorded an episode in November of 2015, but many of you are downloading the previous episode. So even without recording a new episode, I'm still getting about 10,000 downloads total. 10,000 episodes are being downloaded per month, which, I don't know, by comparison, I'm sure that's not a huge deal, but it just tells me that there's something more here that you want to continue hearing from me. So from now on, the Ask Jordan podcast is just going to be me talking, no fancy intro with music and all that. It's going to be a little different where I'm not taking questions from listeners, but I'm going to give like a 5-minute, 10-minute max narration, I guess, or a 5 to 10-minute max episode with some tips that are going to help you, whether you own an Amazon business or an eBay business or probably any other type of business. You're probably going to be able to take some lessons away from this. And it's not going to be anything tactical. Like, I'm not going to say, well, if you want to undergo a pay-per-click campaign for your private label product, here's the steps 1, 2, and 3. That's already out there in various free and inexpensive courses. This is just going to be me kind of giving you a pep talk without being too mamby-pamby and Cloud 9 stuff. And I think you're going to enjoy it. The other thing I want to tell you before I continue is that I'm also starting a second podcast, God willing, if everything works out okay. It's been delayed for a long time, in late May. And it's called Amazon Seller Software Reviews. And the reason why I'm doing this new podcast is for selfish reasons, because I have a great interest in software that helps other sellers. But there is, in my opinion, no prominent gatekeeper in between you, the Amazon seller, and the software that's out there. There's so much software that's coming out, software and services. Mostly, this is going to be mostly talking about software that promises you the world, right, as an Amazon seller. And I want to decipher some of that, and I want to kind of give clarity to you on what a certain software does. I will be interviewing CEOs and founders of software, but it's not going to be a fluffy podcast. I'm going to ask tough questions. I'm going to give my personal feelings and reviews about a certain software that may help you. And again, it starts mid to late May. So again, if you're looking for this episode right now, this episode 109, to be some Amazon seller help, it's not going to be, just wait for episode 110 to come out, probably the first, second week in May. This is more like me just updating you and telling you what's been going on. So I want to thank you for your loyalty. Again, I really appreciate this podcast would be nothing without you. And the fact that you are still downloading and still listening and still asking, Jordan, when is the next episode, means that I'm doing something right. And that's why I'm deciding to continue with the Ask Jordan podcast. So let me tell you where I've been, because you deserve an explanation. My last episode was November of 2015. And many of you know, some of you know, that my wife and I had to put our house up for sale in Long Island, New York, where we lived. And we're currently living in Las Vegas. Now, we're not running from the law or came here because we have a gambling habit. Some of you have emailed me and said, what did you do that's illegal? We didn't do anything illegal. Here, I had to hold back on this story for a number of reasons, but now I can tell you. So the reason we had to put our house up for sale, or the primary reason, is because my wife and I were being repeatedly harassed and threatened by a drug dealer. This is the neighborhood that my wife grew up in. It's a great neighborhood, and a woman that lives diagonally across the street from us decided to bring in a person. I'm not going to say what kind of race he is, because that's going to get people very sensitive, but let's just say race regardless of race. He was kind of like a mid-level thug. And both him and the woman that owned the house proceeded to harass the neighbors, in addition to threatening neighbors, in addition to running a drug operation out of their house, in addition to running a drug ring with minors, delivering their drugs for them. And I don't want to get into this too much because assuming some of this is going to be just extremely boring to you, but my wife and I both suffer from our a long time ago post-traumatic stress disorder for various number of variety of 1, 2, 3 reasons apiece, separate from each other. And having this house across from us, there was 93 some odd domestic calls in the 3 or 4 year period that this was going on by police. Having this constant domestic calls because of fighting and people pulling in and out for drugs. And this isn't across the street, meaning like, we live in the middle of Ohio. This is Long Island where the houses are like right on top of one another. So myself, my wife, especially my wife who suffers from PTSD, couldn't take this anymore. And the police, and I'm sticking my neck out by saying this, the police are in Nassau County, New York, are notorious for not doing anything. They're the highest paid, or one of the maybe top 5 in the nation, highest paid police forces. We're talking $150,000 and up top pay, and then with overtime, another $50,000, $100,000. And they have no interest in protecting folks, particularly because we've become a very politically correct society where if you are a police officer and there's a thug that's committing a crime or harassing people, you have to be very careful that it doesn't turn into a quote unquote race issue. So the police were actually useless. My wife and I had to even hire a private investigator to help us out, but that didn't amount to anything either. So it got to the point where it was really affecting us negatively. We had planned to come out here to Las Vegas, Nevada, because my wife's brother, my brother-in-law, lives out here. My in-laws have their future retirement home here that they bought for a song a few years ago and completely kind of rehabbed. And my wife and I are actually live in their house now in Las Vegas, Nevada. My in-laws are still in New York, Long Island, New York. So we're renting from them. We're staying here until we are in a financial position where we can kind of buy the last house we're ever going to buy here. So we had to sell our house. And look before I continue, I'm not trying to make you feel bad or give you a sob story. There are people that have troubles right now that are much greater than the ones that we have had. So we had to put our house up for sale, and it took a couple months. We took a bath on the house, we took a big loss on the house, and we moved out here. The house sold in like January, I think. It took 2 or 3 months to sell. We dropped our price repeatedly, and then we said, okay, obviously we're going to move to Las Vegas, Nevada. And that's a big transition for us. I don't know if you've ever seen, well, let me get to that part in a minute, but the same time that we had just the same exact time that we wrapped up the sale of our house and moved everything out and shipped everything out here, one of our beloved dogs, a Pomeranian named Candy. I don't know if many of you have seen the Pomeranian Boo. She kind of looked a little bit like Boo. And she actually has her own Facebook page. She got very quickly, she got a heart disease that escalated pretty quickly. And she was in and out of the Long Island, New York vet that we had, the emergency place. She got congestive heart failure, almost died on us once. We had to go back twice. The third time that we went back with her, she was there for 2 or 3 days, and the congestive heart failure was overwhelming for her. She could not go on. She was oxygen dependent. Not to get too personal or to act like a sob story here, but there are some people that have dogs that treat them like just dogs, and I understand that. And there's some people that are like completely obsessed with their dogs. That's like the far extreme. We do kind of treat our dogs like children. We have 2 Pomeranians, and that was not children in the sense where they're sitting at the table with us with a bib on and sitting in their own high chair with diapers. They're not like that, but we were extremely close. Especially my wife was extremely close to Candy, and that was a huge loss for us with horrific timing that it happened. So that made things even tougher. So we moved out here to Las Vegas, and I'm just kind of getting into a groove now, getting things back to normal, getting back to the podcast, back to selling on Amazon, back to writing for my blog, back to doing reviews for you, back to my products and services that help Amazon sellers. Again, I'm not trying to say that we have it rough or anything, but this was a big culture shock. I think for anybody who comes from the East Coast. I was born and raised in the Northeast, New England, and my wife and I then lived in Long Island. My wife's from Long Island, New York, and moving here was literally, it felt like that recent Matt Damon movie where he gets stranded on Mars. I forget the name of the movie, but it actually feels like that out here. It's extremely different. And so we've just kind of been adjusting. We're fine. Our second dog, Cinnamon, which was our very first Pomeranian, that's Candy's half-sister, is doing great considering. She's also 12 years old, and she has a number of health ailments, but her heart is healthy, as this is all manageable stuff. So we're here. We actually, the last time there was a ASD show with I forget what ASD stands for, but it's for wholesale, where wholesalers from around the world come to Las Vegas and put up their exhibits and wares at the ASD Convention in Las Vegas. They do it like twice a year. Their last one, I think, was February. I actually, on my newsletter, if you go to jordanmalik.com/newsletter to sign up, if you haven't signed up already, that's my blog newsletter. I send out an invite for the first 25 to respond. I would take them out to dinner. That's 25 of my followers who happen to be in Las Vegas. And I don't know, 30, 35 people responded. I took out 25, 26 of them for dinner. And that was real nice to see some faces that I've never seen before. I haven't really met anybody of my followers. So kind of the cool thing about being here in Nevada is that I'll hopefully be in a position where I get to meet some of you, because everybody's coming here for a convention, training, Amazon this, eBay, e-commerce that, so that's nice. One of the great benefits of being here. So that's all I wanted to express to you. And again, episode 110 will be out. It's going to be for the Asteroid Podcast. It's going to be a slightly different format. It's going to be no fancy music in the beginning or the end. It's going to be 5-10 minutes. You're going to hear me talk about a specific Amazon trend or what I think of it, or a seller idea or a seller tool. You're going to hear me talk about that. You'll hear me talk about seller challenges. And this is all based on kind of the feedback that I've been getting from users and the questions I've been getting from my followers. So thanks again. Make sure, if you're not signed up, go to jordanmalik.com/newsletter. Sign up for my newsletter there so I can let you know when the new additional podcast comes out, Amazon Seller Software Reviewed. Any questions, you can feel free to email me. I try to do my best to get back to every email, jordanmalik@gmail.com, JORDAN. M as in motor, ALIK@gmail.com. Thank you again. I appreciate your patience, and I'll be talking to you again real soon. You be safe out there. Bye-bye.